rid of them. They're too
if
good.
they get rid of their guys who are keeping them good, they'll be bad. Which probably sounds
Hold on.
obvious.
Can you repeat that again? Hold on a sec. Can you explain that to me?
It's just sick. They play like fire hip hop instrumentals like every time they have the ball.
Oh yeah, I didn't know where you're going with this.
There's
Yeah,
no
they
crowd
do.
noise, and what it is
They
mostly
do.
Celtics fans, so they have to do something. But I just
Yeah.
think, damn, like they're vibing to something. Well, the question was basically like, what movie is that the Celtics coach watches multiple times a week or something with Ben Affleck, which is obviously the town, and the fact that that's a question on Jeopardy is.
Dude, there's definitely like
know
someone
what
that works, that like lives in Boston, that works at Jeopardy. They're probably like, what the fuck was that question that snuck in there?
Right?
Like $200.
How the hell did this get?
Yeah.
Shoulda never sent him to pick up the work for me. Sprayed the park and had my shit inside the car. Marcus Smart boy was shooting with a 36 on him. Said if he wasn't in the rush,
All right. Greetings, Chudlings. Welcome to another episode of Chuddy's Corner. It is Wednesday, November 13th, and the Celtics come back and stomp the Nets after an interesting first quarter. They beat them 139-114 in Brooklyn. Second night of a back-to-back. Celtics now moved to 24-5 under Missoula on back-to-backs, on the second night of a back-to-back, which I think is a pretty sick stat. I think that's when I saw it on the broadcast, I couldn't really believe it. But yeah, so this ended up being a good win. Chuddy, I'll bring you in on this. What did you see in this game? What did you like? That first half particularly was just such brutal basketball, considering how last game ended. But they turned around in the second quarter, and the second half was this was a light switch game, really.
Yeah, and I'm glad they flipped it a little earlier than they probably could have, because it came out kind of stuck in the mud. The first half of that first quarter, especially, rough watch. The team, if you recall, we spotted them a 16-2 lead the other night. Thought we were going to do it again. Spotted them a 26-13 lead. And it was just very, very stagnant on both ends. Again, it looked like they were taking it to us. We weren't really just moving the ball. Like, all of our looks were just off the dribble.
Forces.
Out of character. Shots we can make, but shots that are there anytime we want them. It's like we were not working to play offense and get good shots. Everything was coming off the dribble. Nothing was going in. No pace, no nothing. And then you could tell, though, like early, Joe wasn't going to stand for it again. I think he had Luke and Pritchard in before 4 minutes had gone by in the first quarter. He's just like, no, we're not making changes. We're not doing this. It was still a little touch and go the entire first half. Played a lot better, obviously, after getting down 13. And then second half, especially third quarter and early fourth quarter, that was just back to pure Celtics basketball. Ball just humming around the perimeter, burying open threes, getting to the rim, a little bit of everything. Tatum and Brown both had it going, which is just great to see, and ended up being a clinical beatdown. All the things that annoyed us in the last loss, and even close calls, completely cleaned up. Rebounding, won the rebounding edge, I think 45-33, only let up 3 offensive rebounds and 12 of our own.
Yeah, that
only
was a
7
big thing.
turnovers for us. Made a ton of threes. Everything that we've kind of been, I don't even want to say struggling, is probably overstating it, but I guess in our 1 or 2 game not playing to the best of our abilities, the things that we were.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a skid. I don't think
For
it's.
our
I
standards.
feel like they haven't really been playing. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, what are the standards? The standard is the standard. So,
Right.
to our standards, yeah.
We're talking about close losses is close wins is bad loss. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's good to see him turn all around. Good to see Tatum especially had it going. Brown did too, really. But you could just see kind
That
of
third quarter from Tatum, he had 15 points in the third quarter. He was just unconscious.
And a little bit of everything too. They're both in the threes. Tatum's three. What they call him? Not something Curry. I forget what it was. It was a funny line.
I
Stretch
forget.
Curry, maybe. I don't know.
Stretch Curry, I think. Yeah, I think.
But
that's what it was.
he was tonight. I mean, and we know he's gonna have nights like that here and there. But when he's on like that, that's truly the last level of. He is just absolutely unstoppable. There's nothing you can do with him. And in that
the
third
three
quarter,
looked good, but he had a couple of takes too, under the hoop, some
He-
crazy stuff through contact and things like that. So he was.
I think that's really what opened things up and got the Celtics back to playing Celtic basketball. Was Tatum kind of taking over end of that first quarter? That was almost entirely him on that run, and most of it was just getting to the basket. Especially when Claxton came out for the Nets, they really don't have another rim protector. And Tatum also realized they were just letting him play really physically, which I think at first kind of overwhelmed us those first 6 minutes. Like I said, the Nets were taking it to us. And then it was almost like Tatum, Brown, especially, were like, oh, this is how we're allowed to play? All right, sounds good. And just started taking it over and over again. Getting to the free throw line, I mean, Brown, too, I was noticing, like, it's crazy how he's become got to be one of the most high volume free throw shooters in the entire league. He just gets to the line over and over and over again.
And he's doing it ethically, too.
Now. Yeah, oh yeah,
he's doing it very ethically
as
too.
As one can do it. Yeah, he's getting the right act out of him. But yeah, it was just kind of like bully ball by both of those guys, and then obviously, like we said, Tatum gets the jump shot going, and that's just like poetry in motion, just absolutely beautiful to watch. And it was like highlight after highlight, and several of those possessions where will be like that's Celtic basketball, where it seems like everybody touches it, and the defense is just like one pass behind, can't catch up, and someone different was hitting the dagger every time, but. Yeah, I mean, for, a casual Wednesday night game in Brooklyn, this is pretty much, I'd say, exactly what you want to see outside of a rocky 6 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that 6 minutes really only matters just based on the fact that it's coming after the game last night, which honestly is I'm so grateful that they had a game just like today. I mean, the back-to-back is awesome tricky, but it's like, because they come out and they have a performance like this, and it's just kind of like, oh, you still want to talk about the NBA Cup game? Like, whatever.
But not just that. The game before, 2 games in a row, getting down 16-2, including against this Nets team.
Well, I feel like you can't exactly erase that because they sort of did that again today.
Well, no, that's what I mean, but I'm saying that's the only reason. When you're saying the only reason we would care about those first 6 minutes is because it's like we just played the Nets. They started off 16-2, and it went to overtime. So it's not like we can be like, oh, like we overlooked the Nets. It's like we just played them, and we know that they're feisty.
But yeah, the last 5 days we played them on Monday, so just been a strange 5 days for us.
Yeah, but it really. I mean, that team was almost like unrecognizable at the beginning of that first quarter, the way we were playing, and like I said, it's just weird. There's like no effort to start running offense, get the ball moving. As soon as we did that, it was like the floodgates opened up, and then I think it ended up being our highest scoring game of the season, right? With like 137, 139 points. I think that's
139,
our highest of the year. So is
that our highest?
Yeah, I believe that's what they said at the end of the broadcast. Which I mean, sounds right. It's a good amount of points.
Yeah, I also the Celtics. This was a game. I guess like I've had it's like throw out your notes game, because this is another one where like everything I was kind of writing, jotting down on my phone or whatever from like the first quarter. Like, don't love our body language. We look like we're sick of getting everyone's best. Like, what is wrong with us? Like, why are we sleeping? Like, just so much, just so angry. So annoyed,
so
and like you said, just kind of turned. I know at the time it made so much sense. I thought I was absolutely cooking right there. But not yeah, so and I mean, then it eventually gets to a point when the switch got turned on a lot sooner today. I do think obviously the Tatum third quarter, but yeah, it's still going to be in the back of our heads for a while though. The way that how bad they can look at certain points, and again, you can chalk it up to like. We probably just have these like crazy expectations of them because of everything. Like we just assume we're going to dominate.
Yeah.
After last season, then we come out the first game of the season, absolutely truck the Knicks. Like all, it looked like it was going to be like rainbows and like butterflies throughout the season. So, we're talking about 6 minutes in a game, but it's just like.
And I mean, we're talking about a team that's 10-3. We're on pace to win like 62, 63 games. So
yeah.
Like you say, we're kind of just looking for things here and there that we can clean up, and there definitely are some.
Yeah, and thankfully they're gonna have some extra time to practice. So the schedule finally lets up for the Celtics. They have like 3 games in the next 10 days, and I heard Abby was asking Joe if it was a good chance to take stock, and he basically just was like, more time to practice. So
yeah, and I mean, that's Joe being Joe. Obviously, again,
I do think that's also a game,
they were down 13 and then got up by 30 halfway through the fourth quarter. So for most of the game, they won by 43 points.
I think we got down as much as 17 tonight.
Nah, 13, I believe.
Was it 13?
Yeah, 26-13, I think at one point was the biggest lead. And
was the highest, the high water mark.
And then if you think about until we basically pulled the starters out, it was just beat an NBA team by 40 points over the span of like 25 minutes. So
yeah.
We're talking about something to clean up.
Turned it on, yeah. It's a light switch game, a cleanup, throw out your notes game.
Yeah.
But again, it's just coming out flat like that. It's just weird. It's just frustrating.
Yeah, and I mean,
hopefully it's not. But I do think there's something to the schedule. I do think it's something to the schedule where we've played every other since the season started.
Right.
That's like a pretty grueling stretch of like playing basketball. So
back to back.
And a back to back tonight. But that it's been more than just tonight. But yeah, I'm happy they'll have 2 nights off. I'm happy we'll have 2 nights off. So I think it'll be good for everybody. Get some rest. Me and you, though, no rest for us. We'll be back in the studio practicing tomorrow. Yeah,
naturally,
we'll be in the studio.
naturally.
Getting some
work on some editing techniques.
Yeah. Shout out to you editing the whole pod last night.
Whew. Yeah.
While we're on there, Chuddy taking a big step. Shout out to Joe too for filling in for me last night.
Great fill-in.
Yeah,
did a good job.
Great job. Great editing. Everything turned out all right.
It did.
Way less stuff than I thought I was going to have to clean up afterwards, but it sounds like you had a lot of stuff to clean up yourself. So either way,
it went surprisingly well. It all worked out. All worked out, and the Chuddy heads out there, none the wiser. They get their episode. It doesn't matter what we go through.
Yeah, but you deserve the recognition, though. That was a good job. Good practice.
Much appreciated. But hey, it's all in the game.
Yeah. All right. What else from this game? I mean, Nets
I think just gotta even
look good, but are they gonna kind of fall back to earth? What are we thinking?
I mean, what's back to earth? Like they're 5
being
and 6,
like the
5
worst
and
team
7.
in the league, capturing the flag.
I don't think they're the worst team in the league if they try to win. I really
They were
don't.
saying they might get rid of Schroeder. Scal was like, "There's rumors they got to get rid of him. They're too good."
If they get rid of their guys who are keeping them good, they'll be bad. Which probably sounds pretty obvious.
Can you repeat that again? Hold on a sec. Can you explain that to me like I'm a little younger than
But no, I mean, it sounds stupid, but seriously, if they keep this team together and try to win, they might just be too good. And I think Jordi Fernandez, great coach. We've mentioned him before, but I love the hire. And I think they just do have a lot of good players. We talked about him before as the Nets. They were the Frankenstein team, right?
Yeah,
obviously
I forget which one they were.
They didn't have Simmons tonight, but they do just have a lot of like good, weird players. And at a certain point, they just obviously don't have nearly as much talent as a team like the Celtics. But I think they'll be competitive in a lot of games. And in the NBA, if you're fighting every night and have good players, like you're going to win a decent amount of games. And right now, it looks like you might not have to be 500 to make the playoffs in the East. So
sneaky NBA Cup team, maybe.
There's going to be, I think, 1 or 2 at least teams in the East that at the beginning of the year we just assumed like that's a tanking team, and at a certain point in the year they're going to have to decide like we either have to make trades or shut guys down if we still want to tank, or we might as well just like go for the 7 or 8 spot because it's there for the take.
Yeah. Well,
and they
could
be
might be one of those teams. Yeah,
exactly. I definitely.
I feel like if you're the Nets, you go out, go win the NBA Cup, get the extra $500K, and then blow it up. I feel like there's a couple teams. I feel like that's a couple teams like the Hawks too. I think are a team that's a Faisal NBA Cup team. Go out, get your run. Oh yeah, they can't. Yeah, right. That's right. We talked about
the only other thing with the Nets too is that I think for like they're delusional. They're not like quite on the Heat Lakers level of delusion, but I feel like they think they're like above tanking and they can just like get a star. Like Giannis available, that like Brooklyn will be on his list, and like maybe they will, but that seems like a crazy idea. But they've been, they've been in the mix, thinking they're going to get like a star that comes available. It's like, okay, but
I mean, they had 3 and they fucking totally just
so
didn't work out.
Why would they even want that again? I guess. I mean, I don't know. Things are worse now, but
I
don't know. We'll see. We'll see how things play out. We'll see. It's a long season. And as of right now, coming into tonight, they're like the 6th seed. So.
Back to some Celtics stuff here. Kata got the start again tonight. I thought he had that first foul very early in the game. I thought it was a tough foul for him to take, but I did think overall played pretty well. Had a Diesel block early too. I feel like right after that, so it kind of balanced that out for him. But just more Kata just playing well. Like it seems like he's really. I think he's past Luke on like the hierarchy now too. Obviously he started, but I don't know. It just seems like. I didn't. Who saw that coming? I mean, we thought.
I know, but I also kind of, at least in the first half tonight, one of the things that was like, it was the first time where it's like, man, we really miss like our good bigs. It was just getting frustrating. It was like we had no rim protection. And I think another part of the turnaround was, if you look, like clearly was Tatum and Brown, especially playing bigger and realizing like, hey, we're playing with some pretty deep bench guys for bigs. We got to go down there and do the dirty work. And I think Brown had a season high, like 12 rebounds.
Tatum
at 9. And again,
almost
not a big team in the Nets, but I mean, at certain points, it was getting ugly the way they were kind of going to the basket with very little resistance. And I was at one point wondering, like, it can't. Why don't we try playing small a little bit more, like with Tatum at the center? It can't hurt. Just
the right matchup.
Pritchard in there for Kata. Well, this wasn't it. Claxton's the only big guy they got. Like, really, I mean, it's not like there's a guy in there who's gonna go mash. They don't have like a Jonas Valanciunas or someone who's gonna go post up Tatum.
Yeah.
Like
Every time I think of Nick Claxton, I always just think of that brutal stray he caught from Kevin Durant when Durant was on the Nets.
Oh, I know.
Where he's like, what do you expect me to do out here? I'm playing with guys like Nick Claxton.
It's funny because Claxton's good.
I know, dude. I always thought he kind of
That
was.
motivated him.
Said that, I'm like, wait, does he suck?
Maybe that motivated him.
I mean, how could that not? If that, that's going to do one or two things. It's going to motivate you. It's going to break you.
Very true.
So he's still out there. He's still playing. He's still on the Nets. Durant's
he's good.
So I guess it motivated him.
One of their better players. Yeah, another guy who might be part of the too good to tank regime that they got to get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
So
TGTT.
But I think we got to talk more too about the Jays and how well both of them played. Again, Tatum with the 36, 9, and 10 performance, and
solid.
Felt his like dominance tonight. Again, I've used the phrase before, but he's like the queen on the chessboard out where it's just like he's just manipulating every single thing that is happening with the other team's defense, and it's just a joy to watch. And they have a lot of good defenders too. I like that. But just so good to watch. And again, for him, 5 of 6 on threes, that's where it's like he is truly unstoppable. And didn't send help. He's just burying it or blowing past them. They do send help. He's making perfect pass after perfect pass. So many nice dimes, and it's just
he had one pass to Luke, like right on the basket. They threw so fucking fast.
That was near the beginning.
It was right at and it was right.
I think that was the first quarter is when we started the run, and you could kind of see Tatum getting like pissed off. He had just thrown another.
Yeah, it was right after. I think Drew had kind of like we had a little kind of sloppy pass on top that got turned over, and then like next time around it was like fire that thing in there. Yeah,
almost an alley oop, but he like threw it too fast for Luke to even start his jump.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Luke was threw it where Luke was going to, and it got there.
It's just like it like they just like stuck in his hands, and he was like, "Oh shit!" And they just like dunked it real quick. But that was and the possession before that, because I remember Joe called the timeout. It was 19-8, and I was writing down how it was like every possession we're just dribbling and just like settling for shots off no action. Came out of that timeout, ran a beautiful action, got Tatum going downhill to the rim, and he kicked out just a perfect like almost no look like throwback pass. Hit Hauser in stride, stepping into a catch and shoot 3, bangs it, and it's just like that's exactly what we need. And then that pass you mentioned to Luke was like a possession or two later, and then Tatum just got it going, hit a couple threes, got a couple hoops, went to the basket, scored some layups. So he was incredible, amazing Tatum night. Could have been much bigger stats if he really wanted to, and just again,
Joe asked if he wanted to stay in for the rebound. He said no. That's a leader of men right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was also at a certain point telling Joe like, all right, we're up 30 with 4 minutes left.
I thought they were the guy with the sore ankle in there a little long anyway.
The guy with the sore hip and the sore ankle out of there, who have like, I mean, almost not to be overshadowed. Brown with 24, 12, and 4, also hit 2 of 5.
Strong showing.
And, yeah, exactly. Just a strong showing, like some bruising baskets in there. He's just absolutely taking it to people. So to have him as a second option, but yeah, just to see all this stuff cleaned up again. Coming off a night where we allowed 20 boards and 20 turnovers. If you missed the Hawks game, those are real stats. 20 offensive boards and 20 turnovers. And just obviously playing a different team, but one night later to go on the road. And tonight we gave up 3 offensive rebounds and only had 7 turnovers. So I think Joe had a message for the guys, and it was received.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I was, especially just where I wasn't on the pod last night. I kind of had in those first 6 minutes. I was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna be going in there. I have to fire up the concern meter. I'm getting myself psyched up."
No,
so
we're not doing that.
Like you said, it does. Yeah, no, concern meter back in the pocket. It's not. It was never out. It was disgust pulling it out, but no, yeah, they absolutely came back and took care of business. Is what you want to see. Yeah. Still, though, it's like. This is obviously good, but I think that it's not unreasonable for some people to still just kind of be like, what is with these moments where they're like...
I think that is unreasonable for people to think that.
I don't think so. Why?
Because we just won the finals and we're 10-3. We've lost 3 games.
You've seen the
one
commercial.
One was in overtime. One was to the Warriors.
You've seen the commercial. We didn't get our goal by defending this. Like, we didn't get one of these by defending these. The trophies.
I agree. I'm just not. I'm just saying. I'm not concerned over a quiet 6-minute stretch. We're not going to be winning every game by 20 at the end of the first quarter. We won the game by 25.
Yeah, when you
second
say it like
back
that,
on the road without our 2 first centers, and we won by 25.
My concern isn't a 6-minute stretch. It's And again, not concerned. I shouldn't even say concern. The concern meter is not out. My thing that I'm thinking about, but not too negatively, is that it's like it's like 3 or 4 games. They're in a bit of a rut, and maybe it's just a rut, and we don't worry about it. If I'm glad that I wasn't on the show last night because it could have been possibly a Lakers game last year type reaction out of me. So I'm glad I didn't get that on the air. That was brutal. That game was tough. But I did think you guys had excellent kind of analysis. It did sort of talk me off the ledge a little bit. I think the whole idea of like we just kind of get surprised with this Trae Young-less Hawks team.
It was a totally unrecognizable team
playing gritty and grinders.
Yeah.
So again, good stuff on the pod. Talking about the ledge. Concern meter again didn't come out. The concern meter didn't come out. But yeah, I just don't want to see.
Talking a lot about the meter for talking about pulling it out way too much. All I'm gonna say. I don't even want to hear about it. I want you to be like, oh, that thing I forgot. It's in my closet somewhere. You're like, yeah, like it's resting right here in the cabinet, and just give me any excuse to rip it out, and I will.
Oh, trust me, I want it to collect all the dust.
Doesn't sound like it.
I have heavy stock and concern. A lot of shares of concern meter stocked.
I can tell. My God. Speaking of things not to be concerned about, dare I say a quiet 23-8-6 for Pritchard off the bench?
I mean, he's just so
like an absurd
good.
Stat line for a game where I feel like it wasn't. I don't know. Usually he comes in and it's a kind of like a loud 16 points off the bench, which is I shouldn't even say that because that's like his average this year. But I feel like he was obviously played a ton of minutes, played really well, but I never felt like holy shit. It was more just like well, Pritchard's just being Pritchard.
Yeah. White had the couple fouls early, so I think that Pritchard got some serious run. Like if he played more than 20 minutes
like
in the
36 minutes total, which is obviously
but
starter minutes.
I mean, I don't know. I guess quiet might be the worst. I think, like you said, the Jays, especially Tatum in the third quarter, were kind of like, this was a night for the stars.
Yeah,
but
and then the ball and stuff.
Pritchard, it's just crazy the performance. Like I know, I said it. I obviously started it. 6th man of the year. It got picked up. Mm-hmm. And I do think it's been like a little bit of a tongue in cheek. I know the odds are saying now, but it's
not anymore.
That's crazy. I mean, I was looking at his numbers. He's like averaging like almost 16, 17 points a game. It probably went up a little bit tonight. Like that's math would say that went up a little bit.
But I mean, I guess that's kind of what I mean when I say quiet, in the sense that like a year ago, if in a game where all the starters were playing, it was just like, Pritchard had 23-8-6 off the bench, we'd have been like, what? And now it's kind of like, it's almost like an afterthought.
It must have been the story,
It's like, our 6th man in a solid game. Like, no big deal. That's what he does.
Yeah.
He forced a ton of turnovers, too, especially in that second half when we were getting really feisty on the defense. He was a big part of that.
Yeah.
I saw he forced 4 turnovers in the second half himself.
Yeah, that was a stat that I saw doing the post game, which is, absolutely insane.
He's the man.
Yeah, and Pritchard's, he's awesome. Oh, and also I was listening to, I think it was maybe the Bucks episode, and I was like talking about Pritchard, and I was saying he's like this little guy. I do want to just say I'm pretty sure he's like way taller than me. He's
6'1".
He's 6'1".
Yeah.
So sorry, when I say little, I mean like compared
NBA,
to
obviously
the people on the court. Yeah,
6'2".
Right. I was like, maybe I was just getting my own head. I was like, damn, what if Pritchard's listening? I don't want to think I was chirping him.
I think it's okay.
Shut up, Pritchard.
I think it's okay.
Giant amongst my friend group. A giant amongst my friend group.
He'd be one of my tallest friends easily.
Easily. That was I like the little action they did too with when there was like 6 seconds left. They everyone was obviously trying to keep Pritchard from getting the ball, and like he got it and like snapped it back to Tatum like real quick, and ended up getting the shot at the Tatum ended up scoring. I think it was just like a 2-pointer, but
no, that was
great.
I mean, that's pivoting. We're making actions like off the teams are adjusting, and we have like counters to it. Which
I think that's kind of like a funny kind of spot where it's like teams are like oh fuck, we forgot to get back and cover Tatum
right
there. So
it happened last night too with the long pass to Brown, and he got fouled, and it was like damn, that's too bad. It's like, what? We just passed it. They just let us pass it in the finals MVP for like a mid-range shot. Because they're denying Pritchard 65 feet from the hoop. I can't really blame them.
he's so dangerous from there. It's like
It's hilarious.
That's not even it's like saying like Tim Duncan in the paint, Pritchard 65 feet away. It's like there's
pretty
a
much
lot of similarities.
No, it's wild. It is wild.
Yeah.
It's
but yeah,
awesome.
overall, he can't. Pritchard is like quickly like that might be like a sneaky jersey purchase at this point. I know I usually like to like wait
anymore. I wouldn't say.
Yeah, no, yeah, like a Pritchard jersey is probably a must, and I love too that he does it in number 11 too. Just there's a little bit of like poetic history, like poetic justice to that.
Yeah.
Great lesson for the kids too. Stick with it. He wanted to be traded 2 years ago, and yet obviously had a fair point. He was like, I want to play more. I think I can play more.
I mean.
And obviously, he certainly is able to.
Sneakily, if you want to talk about something sneaky, one of Brad's best moves among all of them was just straight up denying Pritchard's trade request.
Yeah,
like
seriously.
What other GM would do that with like their 11th guy? It was like some like little
dude,
guy.
I
mean,
see
at
the
the
vision,
time,
like,
like that's actually wild. You're on a team trying to win it all, and your 12th man is demanding a trade. You're probably like, all right, just like get this guy the fuck out of here. He was like, no, dude. No, stick around. You're gonna be the 6th man of the year on like the best team in the league in 2 years. I got this.
Yeah.
And
holy
shit,
do you trust me?
Right?
Do you trust me?
I'm sure he does now.
Yeah,
vision.
Yeah, no, I mean it's pretty remarkable because I remember even as that like when that was happening, I remember being like, well, I'm kind of torn between like, well, I really like Pritchard, but like he doesn't really play for us, like, but I so if he wants to go somewhere, go ahead. But I'm also in my head being like, but I'm not really sure that he could be what he thinks he could be somewhere else. But now it's like, damn, he's like
just
sick.
Give him the chance, whatever. If he wants to go score 20 a game for the Wizards, go for it. But now it's like,
oh my god,
now he's just doing that for us.
Exactly, even better. All right, do you got anything else on the game? We're running a little over. We're going to get into our Chuddy Chains.
The only other thing we mentioned a little bit, just crazy Derek White foul trouble from a guy who I feel like the last guy you'd expect to get into foul trouble. Had to sit a ton, quiet night, but do want to shout out just an unreal block he had on Zaire Williams on that dunk that we challenged. And it was right after Hauser had a sick block too. So again, I think that just speaks to like cleaning up some of the stuff from last night and realizing like, hey, we don't have our, Porzingis. Tonight we don't even have Al. Like, they're getting to the basket. And it's like, this is a group effort. Guards, wings, big men. We're all crashing the glass. We're all protecting the rim. And just cool to see. And we always say, like, it used to be more of a thing. And now it's, again, just accepted. But we would be like, Derek White had a good game. Derek White had a bad game. And it's like, Derek White always has a good game. It's really just like, did he make a ton of shots? So tonight, like, quiet's that game. But he's always playing well when he's out there. And the fouls, I think, is just like a weird, kind of random, unlucky blip on the radar.
Yeah, and an extra shout out to him too because I had him for 3 points made in the Chuddy bar, and Kada got his 6 points early, Pritchard got his 12 points early, but I was very nervous because he was in that foul trouble.
Yeah,
nothing in the first half. Came in, hits 3 threes. That's all he did. He just basically was like, "Hold up, I got to come in, hit this Chuddy real quick." The Chuddy bar's back. Chuddy bar's back. We're all right. Yeah. We're still up big units on the year. We're almost back to 500, which I think is very impressive for a parlay. Personally,
keep that going, everyone's gonna be rich.
Yeah, I know. I mean, if you followed the Chuddy Bar parlay, like at this point, you're up like 16 units on the year.
Big units,
so
mighty big.
Pretty
units.
solid. Yeah.
If
you got big units, you're up a ton of units.
Massive.
Well, yeah, percentage wise or whatever.
Everything.
Extrapolate my unit out to like a real unit, and that'd be pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah, it's unit fest.
All right. Should we go with our Chuddy Chains?
So 2 more things I have to bring up. I wrote this down. This is absolutely essential to talk about. There's been a ton of 2-for-1 talk on this show. We might be like the official podcast of 2-for-1s because we talk about it almost every episode. I have to point out, first of all, I love that it seems like the Celtics aren't really going for 2-for-1s anymore. I don't know if it's just like random lately, but
despite Scal,
they're just getting better looks. But tonight was the perfect. Like, this is the video they should show of why 2-for-1s are so stupid and not a good analytical play. I don't know if you noticed this, but the Nets, and specifically Dennis Schroeder, I think made the worst 2-for-1 in the history of basketball. So there was like 40 seconds left in the first quarter. They rolled it in to Schroeder. He sprinted up into a pick and roll. He got no separation. In fact, Tatum stepped up, stepped right in Schroeder's face. He still shot like an off-balance, almost like one-footed 3 from like 5 feet behind the line with Tatum right in his face. It was as bad of a brick as you'll ever see. I think it hit the backboard and like the side of the rim. So that was a waste of their first possession. The Celtics pushed it down, and Tatum made an and one on one of those like crazy layups, drove down and 1, 3 points for the Celtics. The Nets had 16 seconds left. They came up and just immediately got called for an illegal screen with 6 seconds left. And then that was the play where you're talking about where Pritchard got it and pushed it to Tatum, and Tatum hit that like mid-range shot basically at the buzzer. So
Yeah.
their 2 for 1 ended with them getting up one of the worst shots you'll ever see and a turnover and us scoring 5 points. So just had to bring up that sequence because I was like, this is
they struck out big time on that 2 for 1.
Yeah, this is the video they should show when people are like, yeah, you got to take a 2 for 1. It's like, you absolutely do not. And then the very last thing I was going to say is just, I know it's like, it's just it's so different when you're in Boston, which is obviously the game that I know at least you and I, 99% of the time, at least when we go to NBA games, it's in Boston. I've been to a few other arenas, but Celtics fans are the fucking balls. Place is always lit. We don't need any sideshows or shenanigans or anything like that. But in Brooklyn, Barclays Center, obviously the opposite, but it is just sick. They play like fire hip hop instrumentals like every time they have the ball.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know where you're going with this.
There's no crowd noise, and what it is mostly Celtics fans, so they have to do something. But I just think, damn, like they are vibing to some like sick beats every time they have the ball.
Dude, they had the Disco Inferno one, like the 50 Cent Disco Inferno, and I remember being like, but it was like sped up a little bit. I'm like, okay,
banger after banger. It's like every
I'm gonna have to listen
at a certain
to that
point.
song.
It must be like it must be so weird to go to a game there when like with what we're used to in the Garden and just be like, I feel like I'm at like a fucking club and like it's sick, but it's just something weird.
The Nets just have like a giveaway for like it's like. Control the aux.
Yeah.
Barclays Center.
Not a bad call, honestly.
That'd be, that's actually a sick idea.
They should have like tracking data on like players, and it's like, Cam Thomas has a 84% true shooting percentage when like Mobb Deep instrumentals are playing. Like, where are the advanced stats on that?
Yeah. No, we need to get them. That is so true. That's funny because I didn't know where you were going with that, but as soon as you said it, I'm like, that's funny. Like I totally noticed that they just do kind of play
how you cannot.
And I do like they do kind of like a little take on the like the Jeopardy daily double sound for a 3-pointer too, which is pretty solid. So that is something that Nets definitely have going for them. They Unreal Arena situation. Cool. Maybe that might be the way game we have to do. Yeah.
Although I think we just missed. Well, they have at least one more. We'll look into it. But...
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, that would be a fun one.
All right, let's give out our Chuddy Chains. All right, so the Chuddy Chain that goes out to the probably it's almost like a Tommy Award type thing. Guy, not necessarily the flashiest, but maybe the grittiest one out there. Not exactly like the Tommy Chain. Not exactly like a Tommy Award.
What even is the Tommy Award again? Never heard of this Tommy Award?
Yeah, we are not ripping that off. All right, was it you or me? Who goes first? Do we ever really know?
No,
I think you let Joe go first yesterday, so you can go first today.
All right, I gotta give it to Jayson Tatum because beyond just the stats, this was one of those, like you said, it was like nothing was working, things were looking bad for the Celtics. He just decided to take over. Mentioned those 2 passes, he just was like, I got this, and you could kind of tell before he even got it going with the scoring, you could almost see that like look, and I think he was kind of like the first guy who flipped the switch. And when your superstar does that, leads by example on both ends of the court, it's contagious. And you saw it kind of just trickle down from him to the rest of the team. And suddenly it was like we were out there just freaking belt to ass.
Yeah. Can't go really wrong with that. 36, 9, and 10 for Tatum. I'm kind of torn between two different people for mine. I think I'm going to give it, only because I've given this other guy it a couple times, I'm going to give it to Jaylen. I think it'll be the Jays for the Chuddy Chains tonight.
That was my second choice.
He was, obviously I think he still finished like 24, 25 points, something like that.
24,
so
12, and 4.
24, 12, and 4. The 12 is what I really want to talk about because I think last night after the game, he kind of said, we need to be better, meaning him and Tatum. So for him to kind of come out, and again, he's the guy, like Tatum getting 12 rebounds is, just another day of the office, really. But I feel like Jaylen's he's not always kind of the guy who's stacking rebounds too. Not that he can't, but it's just not always what he does. So I feel like tonight it was really an effort for it. Those are like some gritty stats there. So I'm going to give my Chuddy Chain to Jaylen tonight. I think that he's earned that.
Respect.
So, the Jays, again, it doesn't always go to the best player, the superstars, but I think tonight the superstars sort of played with a little bit more of that dirt dog mentality. So
absolutely warranted. They led by example. Yeah. That's what you want your stars to do.
Yeah. Leaders of men.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll pivot over to around the NBA, but before we do that, shout out to our sponsor, Nick Perino Real Estate. Go ahead and check out nickperino.com. Last name is Piraino. NickParino.com. He's got all your real estate needs. One of the best in the area. Pretty much all the Chuddy heads that I know have gone to Nick Parino, and he's gotten them a nice house, and they're living in that house now, listening to Chuddy's Corner. That can be you too, folks. Check out NickParino.com. NickParino.com. Great realtor. Great realtor? Real estate agent? What are we supposed to say?
I think
Either one?
he's anti-realtor, the word.
And while you're listening, Nick, because I know you love to listen to the ad reads, might need to have you over to Chuddy's house for some computer tech stuff. We need to send the IT guy over. So,
so I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this and you haven't been over there yet, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
All right. What do you got around the NBA? I know there was a big news
on
the
NBA
coaching
stuff.
front. Yeah, ton of it. All right, go ahead.
I'll try to go kind of quickly, but there was a lot. Got to start last night. Game of the night. In NBA Cup game, Klay Thompson's return to Golden State. I don't know if you stayed up to watch this one, but friggin' awesome game. Felt like a deep playoff game. Felt like there was definitely a little something extra. Klay was up and down, hit 6 threes, had a pretty good game. In the end, Warriors came back, locked down, and Steph went full Steph, had a few of them, gave the night, was yelling, going crazy, like super fired up. Just cool moments left and right, fun game to watch, and then a chills moment of Steph kind of being like, yeah, like I'm the Splash Brothers. Like,
I mean, no one doubted that.
Obviously not, but it was just, you could tell like it meant something extra.
Beef there? Is there beef there?
Yeah, I mean, with the way he left, there's massive beef. As much beef as there could be, I guess. But I don't know if there's like beef with him.
Interesting.
Steph,
I thought it was just kind of like parting of ways.
Not very good terms. Not the best.
Well, I know he was kind of pouting the last like season or two, right?
Yeah, and they were kind of being like, yeah, we're kind of like ready to be done with you. In a way.
Classic.
Yeah, it was some back and forth, but
love it. This league,
exactly. But awesome game. Cool to watch, and we've mentioned it and we saw it firsthand. But the Warriors look pretty back.
Yeah. No, I mean they certainly look back to me.
Yeah. Speaking of back, we shouted out his actual return, but Rob Williams looked all the way back. I don't know if you saw last night, the Blazers dominating the Timberwolves in their NBA Cup game. Rob Williams had 19, 9, 3 blocks, 3 steals, and just looked like vintage Rob Williams. Dunk, I mean, I think half of those points were dunks, alley-oop after alley-oop, highlight reel blocks, and it was cool to see. It's easy to forget how good he was and how long it's been since we saw that, but at least last night, he looked like the real Rob Williams. I also thought it was interesting on the broadcast. They're not calling him Time Lord. There's a lot of Rob 3 and Rob the 3rd is what they're going with. So I don't know if they're just still kind of like learning the Time Lord, or I don't know if they're trying to just rebrand.
Time Lord might have been, it might have been like a Celtics thing, because wasn't it because he was just like late to everything when he first got drafted?
Well, yeah,
maybe
that was the first thing. He missed his like interview because of something like time zones or something. I forget what it was. It was something silly like that.
Lord, God bless him.
You gotta love him, and I mean, obviously we love Rob, and it's just cool to see. Just as a fan, love watching it. Happy for him too. A guy who there's definitely a point where you're like, is he just ever gonna play and be the same again?
Yeah, we've already said this before. We love Rob though.
It's touching stuff. Another NBA Cup game. I don't know if you caught the end of the Heat Pistons game, but
I was hoping you were gonna say this. I pulled up, I bookmarked it because I was like, "This gotta talk about this."
Wild game. I mean, great game. Like this one. Talk about if you go through all time NBA Cup group stage games. This one was definitely
this might be up there. This might be it. Yeah,
absolutely. So it was in overtime. Pistons were down by 2 with a second left. Run an unreal inbounds pass to get an alley-oop off the inbounds to tie the game.
Hold on. You left out that the Heat almost had 6 players on the court.
Well, yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
I feel like with the context of everything that happens, that's
true.
I'm sorry. So there's 6 guys on the court. They barely get the guy off. Then the Pistons had this sick lob to tie it. And then go ahead.
Second left in overtime. Tied. And Spo is so furious. He's storming on the court, calling a timeout. They're out of timeouts. Technical foul. Pistons hit the free throw, win the game. Unreal coaching laps by the undisputed,
crazy.
Pretty much best coach in the game. I mean, we'll dispute it, but the guy who's across the board, that's his reputation. So to see him make an error and him basically admit like I lost my cool and made an awful mistake, pretty crazy. Kicker, obviously, it's in Detroit. Detroit's own Jalen Rose, member of the Fab Five, who famously, of course, lost on the Chris Webber timeout, is sitting courtside. And if you haven't seen his reaction, don't worry, because you will see it in meme or GIF form for probably the next year or so. It's exactly what you're picturing, and just kind of
how did I not even think to use that GIF tonight?
That he was there for sitting courtside as that's happening. The most famous, obviously, timeout technical foul.
I was wondering why he was there, but it's in Detroit. That makes sense.
Yeah, Detroit guy. So crazy stuff, crazy game. What a night. The cup is so back. The cup, we're all
the cup. The cup is it's
not
something.
For us, but for these other teams, for these lesser teams.
No,
all about
don't care about the cup. I don't. The cup can fuck off. But if I were another team, if the cup existed in like 2014, the Celtics would have been. It would have been perfect. Yeah,
it would have been perfect for the Crowder, Avery Bradley.
They would have ended up like naming. They would have named the trophy after Isaiah Thomas.
We built a perfect cup team.
That was.
Yeah, we were
ahead of the race. Yeah, that's the thing. You build a good cup team, it eventually becomes a Larry team. That's
natural progression. Natural progression. Love it.
All right, what else you got?
All right. Greg Popovich, speaking of the coaching world, we'd mentioned that he had been out. We finally found out he had a mild stroke. Expected to make a full recovery, should be fine. Still an indefinite timetable for his return. I don't really know like anything beyond that. Just glad to hear that, it seems like at least now everything's good and that he will be back. Obviously scary, but we miss Pop. Pop's the man.
Yeah, I think now that we know that that's what it is, I think it was appropriate for us that night to give a T's and P's. I know we weren't sure. We didn't want to. But T's and P's. That's
well earned.
That's not scary. I mean, dude, it's like I don't know how more like NBA coaches don't have strokes like left and right. It's like so stressful.
It's so true.
I can't imagine any NBA coach is like goes in for their blood pressure and they're like, "What's good?"
Tibbs is poor doctor,
right?
Dude, dude, the blood pressure. He's like, I can see the blood through your face. Like,
you can't take that. Yeah, you can't. Can't take that stuff lightly. So hope Bob's all right.
For real. We're joking, but yeah, seriously. Did you see the Jeopardy clip with the Missoula question?
Yeah, I did.
I had to see it about 4 times before I even thought to acknowledge that it might be real.
Until I saw Missoula asked about it, I did not think it was real.
So the question was basically like, what movie is that the Celtics coach watches multiple times a week or something with Ben Affleck, which is obviously is The Town, and the fact that that's a question on Jeopardy is...
Dude, there's definitely like someone that works, that like lives in Boston, that works at Jeopardy. They're probably like, what the fuck was that question that snuck in there for like $200?
How the hell did this get him?
Yeah, like
Trebek is rolling over in his grave.
I know, yeah. Oh my God, Trebek would have just not even read it.
Usually the sports questions are like, what team does Jerry Jones own?
But that was so specific.
Yeah. Such an obscure piece of trivia.
What's the movie that this coach who's been a coach for 2 years always talks about?
No chance that the average Jeopardy contestant even knows Joe Missoula.
Did anyone get it? I didn't see the...
Honestly, I hope so, but
that's good stuff.
Can't tell you that. But
shout out to the Chuddy Head that did that question.
Yeah. There's definitely a Chuddy Head working in production on Jeopardy, so shout outs is right. Next, another story that I had to see multiple times before I thought it wasn't like The Onion, or I thought I was getting sentelled on this one.
Sentelled?
Bronny James, did you see this? Only going to play in the home games for the G League teams and won't travel with the team. And part of it was that he won't fly on the United Airlines flights or something. So
what?
Oh, you didn't see this?
Are you sure you're not getting sentelled?
Yeah, it was from the Hoops Collective podcast with Windhorst, who's obviously like as plugged into LeBron as it can be. So here's the quote from Windhorst. He's only going to play in the South Bay Lakers home games. He's only going to kind of be a part-time G League player, and he's not getting on United Airlines to fly to these road games. I know he's getting somewhat special treatment and nepotism. That's fine. Honestly, I don't care. Like I said, it's normal. Now, I think it's actually detrimental to him. I don't like that. I don't know whose idea it was, but obviously the Lakers are fine with it. They're doing it. On this particular instance, I think that's gone too far, and I don't think it benefits Bronny. I don't think it benefits the South Bay Lakers. I don't think it benefits LeBron at this point. And that's Windhorst saying that, who's
dude,
the mouthpiece.
He won't fly United?
But, I mean, what can you even say at this point where it's like, we've said at this point, I almost feel bad for Bronny, where it's like this whole thing is so out of his control, but it's like, how the lack of self-awareness. The lack of self-awareness.
That goes out the window with this.
But I'm sure this is LeBron, like, obviously still doing this, not him.
Then,
lack of
okay, but
awareness
if he's
by
not like
LeBron,
saying to his dad, like, "Hey, Dad, you're making me look
why would he
fucking
not want to just
crazy."
like play with the G League team and get better?
Also,
Are they like so
dude,
ashamed?
we never
that
like
he
snuck
won't
out
fly
before. Just like
United?
sneak out, dude. Just be like, all right, go to bed and sneak out and get on the
Also,
United
like
plane.
literally,
What the fuck?
what is he gonna do when they're at the road games? Like, just stay home and like play video games? Like, I don't even understand. It's just so weird.
Just like he's like using
the
like a
fact
sick
that
day. It's like
LeBron
a big fake
thinks-
sick and
Yeah. It's just so insufferable where all the LeBron stuff is like, Bronny's just a kid. Leave him alone. Treat him like any other G League player, any other second round pick. And it's like, well, we can't. Like, you won't allow us. I would love to just do that, but like, we cannot do it because of shit
That's
like this.
crazy.
Yeah. I can't believe
You
you
better
heard
not be getting sent out.
You
better have triple. You better have heard Wendy say that.
You're like scaring me to think. I saw it enough times that like it's...
All right, you keep doing yours. I'm gonna research this Bronny traveling thing.
All right.
Well, Fox News for NBA. I love when Fox News reports on this stuff. It's just like they make it.
But also,
Uh,
I feel like they're more liable to get sent out than I am.
Yeah, it's a great call. That's a great call. So yeah, we're gonna. That was just my first. All right, so yeah, New York Post saying Lakers, Barstool.
It's definitely a real
points.
story.
Nepotism gone quote too far. With rumored decision to say. Okay, so it's a rumored
Maybe
decision.
there'll be so much pushback that they'll be like, "That wasn't a real story." But I don't think so. I don't think they're self-aware enough to do that.
So the G League teams just like travel on like regular planes. We should try to like get ourselves on like we should try to link up with whatever the Celtics schedule is and sort of try to.
Yeah, I don't think it would be that hard.
I know that's what I'm saying.
Right.
They fly
Right.
to Portland. There's probably like how many flights from like Portland to like Grand Rapids can there be in one day?
Your
Like,
favorite G League
gotta be
team?
able- yeah, we gotta
Gold.
be able to. Dude, we
We
got
might have to
be
go
able
to
to figure that out.
Gold versus Claws game in Grand Rapids
Oh yeah, I don't even know who I'd root
at this
for.
point. I know, yeah, it's a tough decision.
Yeah. No,
Oh
but you know
my
what I'm saying?
God.
Like, if they're flying
Yeah.
from Portland to Grand Rapids, there's probably like
Yes.
4 flights a day
I do
between me,
know-
you, the sponsor, and the intern. We can get one of us on a flight with.
And that's that's a worthy endeavor.
Yeah, money. That's money well spent.
Just like get no content out of it. Just like just saw
My
JD
phone's
Davis.
dead. My phone dies. I'm just
Also,
texting
just, like,
all day at the airport. My phone's just
seeing
dead.
him, just like far away pictures of like JD Davidson at the airport. Wow.
Like 3
Think that's
pictures.
Drew
Like
Peterson?
one of those is definitely Baylor
yeah.
Shireman. I don't know exactly which one, but like just like 3 guys that just look like they're from Dorchester. Just like a picture of all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that's
that is
incredible.
great stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah.
All right. And then just a
That's
few
fun.
quick things on games tonight because it was a crazy crunchy night in the association. So real quick,
Crunch wrap.
Cavs close game. They got pushed by the Embiid, Paul George, Maxey-less 76ers. It was very close, but the Cavs, like they've been doing, pulled away down the stretch. A few clutch buckets for Donovan Mitchell to put that one away. Cavs now 13-0. I think just 2 more games. I want to say it's Charlotte and the Pistons before a potential trip for a 15-0 team to Boston. That would be... I would think that would probably immediately become the game of the year next Tuesday, and it's an NBA Cup game with our NBA Cup life on the line. So I, at this point, hope they win. I mean, I'd like to see them come in undefeated. I think that'd be fun. Either way, it'll be a big game and a test. But I think having that little extra juice, I think it'd be 15-0. It's been under 5 teams all time. I know that have gotten to that mark. So exciting! They're playing great ball. I think their last few games have been close. I think they might be getting a little tight, actually, like about the undefeated streak. So I don't know if they might want to almost maybe drop one before us. Like, I wouldn't be shocked to see it because I think everyone's now
cowardly.
Everyone's kind of gunning. Well, I think it's like everyone's gunning for them too. They know like the Hornets gonna be like, all right, like 13-0 team, like we're gonna get up for that. So I wouldn't be shocked if they drop one just from like all the pressure before us. But I hope they win 2 more, come in 15-0. That would be pretty fun for a November regular season.
Sick, yeah, especially for
not regular season. I guess
not even regular season. Cup game.
Yeah,
that will determine if we want the cup or not. If we truly want it or not.
That really would. Yeah, hard to argue.
If we lose, we never wanted it in the first place.
No. Didn't want anything to do with it. 2 extra games, not for me.
500K. That's ashtray money. You seen our luxury tax?
Yeah, no,
that won't even cover.
Yeah, no, seriously, it's so true. Also, before we move on for that game, it brings me no pleasure to report, but I think Philly got one with Jared McCain, draft pick, rookie out of Duke. He has been filling in lately since Maxey went out, and he looks like a player. He had 34 points tonight, hit 6-7 threes. Kind of kept him in that game. One of the youngest rookies, I think, in the draft, and he just already looks really good, which I hate. But
don't love, huh?
Gotta be honest. Gotta put my biases aside and report the facts here on Chuddy's Corner. That's what we do. So I think he's gonna be a player. But Philly lost, and they're now 2-9. So have fun with that. Everything else they got going on, but they do at least have that going for them, and they got Yabu. So could be worse.
That's big.
And another crazy game tonight. The Knicks battling my zombie team, the Bulls. Great game. Bulls got out to a huge lead in Madison Square Garden. Furious comeback by the Knicks, erased a 22-point deficit, took the lead. Cat had 46, looked absolutely gassed down the stretch. Brunson hit a go-ahead shot with about 4 seconds left. Crazy little turnaround off the glass. Then Josh Hart fouls Kobe White with 3 seconds left on a 3. White hits all 3. Bulls go up by 1. Brunson shoots a fadeaway mid-range shot at the buzzer. Couldn't have been more in and out, and then popped out right at the buzzer. Bulls sneak out of there with a win. I don't know if did you see Tatum's 3 last night in the corner? That was like halfway down. It was basically exactly like that. Just a mid-range shot right at the buzzer. Went out. Knicks go home unhappy. Those zombie Bulls, they're walking. They're dead, but they're walking.
Dude, I'm telling you that we kind of like blessed them with giving them that title because they're our 2 teams that we said that are both playing very well.
Yeah,
very well.
Fun to watch. Very feisty, competitive. It was a nice win. And another Knicks loss, so they're struggling a little bit. And then the Bucks narrowly pull out an overtime win over the Pistons. Dodged a bullet as tie game. Ron Holland to the free throw line with 1 second left. Missed both free throws. Would have won it for the Pistons. But this was just Giannis going absolutely full. 59 and 14 tonight. He's just dragging that team.
What do you have? 50? What'd you say?
59 points, 14 rebounds. Dragging that team.
Did he try to assault somebody to get the game ball? Or
yep, multiple people. But he did get it. And
good for him.
He's just a monster. So in the first quarter, the score was 27-24 Pistons, and Giannis had 22 of the Bucks' 24 points in the first quarter, which is hilarious. But just speaks to what we've been talking about with that Bucks team. Like they're just fucked outside of Giannis, and so he's like, "All right, I'm just going to do everything by myself." And tonight he did, and it worked. 2-0, I believe now without Dame Lillard. So interesting. I'm noticing.
Interesting.
I'm just saying I'm noticing.
Eyes on it.
Just saying I'm noticing. And last but not least, that was not the only 50 burger in the association tonight. Shout out to Victor Wembanyama. First of his career. The second-year player. Put up a 50 ball tonight. 8 threes.
Pool 42, too. Those guys are freaking shooting
and that
out.
was the same game. With the Spurs beat the Wizards. So, first of what I imagine will be many 50 balls for Wemby. It's funny that we're already, I was like impressed, but I was kind of just like, yeah, whatever. Kind of forget that he's just a second-year player. He's like 20 years old.
50 points.
Putting up 50s. It's no joke. So we saw Paolo Banchero do it earlier this year. His first 50 ball, and now Wemby's first 50 ball. Just great times. Great times in the association. Great time to be an NBA fan. And it's just fun. We got more good games on now.
Great time to be a Chuddy head.
Timberwolves Blazers, I want to say, also just weird scheduling. I mentioned they played earlier last night in the NBA Cup, playing again tonight, a back-to-back, but like not an NBA Cup game tonight. So it just must be kind of like weird energy. If you're Portland,
that's just like brutal work for whoever.
We already got what we came for. Like you guys can beat us tonight. Like we don't. Well, yeah, that too. But just weird, kind of a weird schedule quirk. But wanted to mention that, and that's. I think that's it for tonight, pretty much. Unless you want to talk about the Thunder, did you hear us riffing on their all 6 and under lineup that they got another big win tonight with?
I missed that. But
so we talked about obviously Holmgren's out. So their tallest starter now is Shea at 6'6", who's their point guard.
I like that.
It's cool. They're all scrappy, good defenders, and they're all guys who are kind of like bigger than their height, like Lou Dort.
When's Hardenstein back?
Still, I think a few weeks out, so it's going to be interesting. Like I said, 2-0 without a big man.
I'm confused. Did they sign him knowing he was injured?
No, he broke his hand or something like the last preseason game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's not a
All right.
shooting hand, so club it up and get out there.
Yeah, seriously.
Although maybe not,
all right.
because it's kind of fun to watch them play with basically all guards and wings. So maybe no rush.
So next game up, we have 2 days off. Everyone enjoy your rest. Nice Thursday, Friday, days off. Saturday, back to the grind. Saturday night, I think 8 o'clock game too. A little late start. The Raptors are coming to TD Garden. Go ahead. They're 2-8. I'm gonna guess that they stink, but go ahead and tell me why they're not the worst team.
They are one of the worst teams. Certainly.
Okay.
Emmanuel quickly is out. I think our old friend Kelly Olynyk is out. Scotty Barnes has been out. All unfortunate. But I think the Raptors are certainly in that capture the flag mix. The nice things I can say about the Raptors, RJ Barrett, I was not high on. He's looked really good so far. Looks like he might have kind of rediscovered himself out there in Toronto. He's playing some really good basketball. And a guy who's more known for his ridiculous suit and jersey swaps than anything else, but is actually really impressed me this year.
Man?
Grady Dick last year, I think he was the last pick of the lottery. He's been really good this year, and like not what you'd expect. He's got some style, some pizzazz to his game, and he's out there like playmaking, getting to the basket. He's put up some big numbers, so I think it's kind of a good situation right now for those guys where that team is essentially tanking. I think they're 2-9, might have the worst record in the NBA, but he's kind of getting to go out there and just do whatever he wants. So
all right. There's
it should be an easy win
several...
for the Celtics, but they've got some fun, interesting young players to watch. So keep an eye on that.
Obviously, several Celtics players that a jersey swap with Dick would be funny. People can probably piece those together. There's one that's not as obvious. There's obviously Derek White and Jaylen Brown. Those could be funny. Okay. But I do think that him and Dick Hauser, that's kind of funny. That one's a little off the beaten path.
Hey, Hauser Dick.
Hauser Dick actually is not a bad idea. Actually, that might be the way to put it. You're not housing dicks. You're asking Hauser Dick. Yeah. Well, that's something to look forward to.
I'm looking forward to it already.
Yeah, I guess. And if they don't do it, that's something I'm looking forward to photoshopping. So I'm looking forward to
a win-win, truly.
Possibly telling the world myself. So we're gonna cut that from the podcast so no one knows it's coming. All right. We'll see everyone. Chuddy, enjoy your 2 days off. We'll enjoy your 1 day off, practice on the next day.
Naturally.
All right, everyone, take care. Celtics get the win. 139 to way less than that. I think 114 or something.
Yep.
All right, everyone, take care.
Peace out, Chuddy Heads.